Biff, I didn't mention, should be Matt Robeson at 810. Just let me know. Alrighty, thank you.
www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. Weather look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Partly sunny skies with a chance of a shower or thunderstorm. An afternoon high of 93. Showers and storms likely through the evening. Overnight, a low near 71. Clouds and sunshine mixing for your Friday with highs in the upper 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Opinions, rants, commentary, and interviews. Plus, your complete morning news, weather, and sports. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe in the 100 Days of Summer.
65 degrees clear at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. I'm sorry, 75. Man, what is wrong with me today, Biff? I've been given the wrong temperature, the wrong time. I got plenty of sleep. What is wrong? I have not been drinking the boozy Mountain Dew. I want you don't know that. I have not been drinking that new hard Mountain Dew they're doing with some booze in it. I've given the wrong time. I've given the wrong temperature. Jeez. All right. Let's just start the whole thing over again. Rewind the tape. 75 degrees, clear skies at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 75 and sunny here at my home studios, and 75 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. We are looking for a very hot day today. There is a heat advisory in effect all throughout the day today until 8 o'clock this evening. We are looking for a predicted high on the thermometer of 92, and Zach Petty tells us that the humidity and so on are going to make it feel closer to 100, maybe into the triple digits. So it is going to be hot. We have a heat advisory in effect. Play it cool. Be cool, man. Be cool, man. Stay indoors if you can. Get into air conditioning if you can. Don't push yourself if you don't have to. This may not be the best day to get a jog in the 100-degree temperature. Just moderate yourself a little bit and make sure you stay hydrated, because it is going to be a super hot day today. Mentioned earlier, and I'm not trying to give them a plug, although they're a great restaurant, I saw where Hillbilly Snack Shack out in the Philadelphia Valley Grove area posted yesterday that because of the high heat coming today, they was going to be closed today. They weren't even going to be open, just putting their staff into a hot kitchen, and when temperatures outside are already going to be maybe as high as 100, they're not even opening up today. Stay cool, man. Stay cool if you possibly can. And then scattered showers coming in this afternoon, and they could be intense as well. We've had intense showers every day this week, so be aware of all that. COVID is our major topic of talk throughout the morning this morning, rising dramatically nationwide and across the state. Governor Justice says he may be leaning to a mask mandate once again. Booster shots could be on the horizon for those who have a compromised immune system. The full approval of, which one is it? Is it the Pfizer? Full approval, not right now, they're experimental approvals for Pfizer and J&J and Moderna. Full approval could be coming soon from the FDA. There's really nothing to fear from the experimental approval, but some people go, I won't do it because it's all experimental. Hopefully, once the imprimatur of full approval gets there, may encourage some people to get more vaccines. That's the only way we're going to fight this. I'm not going to run down these numbers again. I did earlier this morning, but we are dramatically higher. This was 4,600 and some cases, in West Virginia this week, compared to just 2,011 days ago. Hospitalizations are up, deaths are up. And it's all among the unvaccinated. 98% among the unvaccinated. And across the country, more and more, I won't say more and more, but there are a few governors and legislatures across the country that are trying to prevent health officials from imposing things that would help public health. We talked about in Ohio, where there's new legislation in effect that does not allow public health agencies to put mask mandates into effect, does not allow the governor to implement some of these kind of measures. Down in Florida, we know that Governor DeSantis has already said that not only is he not recommending a statewide policy on masks in school, he's banning masks in schools. And he goes a step further in saying that in the event anybody disagrees with or doesn't follow his policy, if any school system might enact a mask mandate, they might withhold money from them. It's just crazy. And yet in Florida and in Texas, where similar bans are in effect, school districts are basically going, yeah, to heck with you. We're going to protect our kids. Just crazy stuff that's going on these days. All right, 8:14 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. We've danced around the issue of, I'll broadly call it redistricting, for a while here on the program. We've talked about how in West Virginia we're going to be redistricting. We'll be losing one congressional office. We're going to go down from 3 to 2 Congress people. We've talked about how, in addition to redistricting in West Virginia, the legislature has gone to a single delegate district. So from now on, instead of multi-delegate districts, Ohio County, for example, has 2 delegates. Kanawha County has, I think, 5. Now, each district will only have 1, but they'll be redistricted districts. So that, combined with new census data coming out, is really kind of changing the complexion of the landscape a bit. And I invited Matt Robeson to come and join us. Matt, former political consultant, campaign staffer, and congressional staffer, and now podcaster and talk show host and all those kind of good things, to talk about the big picture on that. Matt, good morning. Welcome to the show, first of all.
Well, good morning. Always a pleasure to be on.
How was your vacation? Would you go away someplace? Did you go away or stay home? Was it staycation or vacation?
It was Jersey Shore all the way. We've been back for 2 weeks. I've been de-gelling my hair. The pec implants have come out. So things are coming back to normal.
Getting back to normal. The audience has heard me say, I have not been to the water it's exactly 7 years, because it was the last time I was at the water of any kind at a beach. got a phone call from my son telling me that his wife was pregnant. My grandson is now 6, so that would have been 7 years ago. That's how long since I've been to the water. I really want to get back. I'm a beach kind of guy, or at least a waterfront kind of guy. But I haven't been there for a while, so I envy.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not a beach kind of guy. And,
You're not.
you know, just to connect to what you were talking about beforehand, I mean, look, I don't like sea life. I don't like the feeling of the waves. I'm a curmudgeon. You know, I think I just have kind of a difficult personality when it comes to going to the ocean. But I'll tell you what's interesting is that where we were, there were all these rays. There were certain species of rays. And from the shore, they sure as heck look like sharks, which of course makes the people on the shore nervous. You're looking into the waves. It kind of looks like there are sharks in the water. But of course, you and I both know that shark attacks are extraordinarily rare, right? It almost never happens. You're more likely to die in a sharknado than to actually get attacked by a shark. And yet, it's something that we fear and it affects my behavior. And I just can't help thinking of that in relation to people not wanting to get the vaccine. The odds are so clear. You're more likely literally to get hit by lightning than to have a seriously bad effect from taking the vaccine. The vaccine will probably save your life. It could save your kids' lives. Yet, here we are.
I don't even know how to deal with it anymore. All I do is get frustrated and angry. There is absolutely no scientific evidence to suggest there's any problem with it. I mean, yes, like in any vaccine, some people have bad effects. Yes, you know, but those are small numbers. It's true of anything. I don't understand how something that is life-saving has become so political. I guess everything becomes political these days, though, right?
Everything becomes political these days. And what's really distressing about it is that we have really good research on this. There was a great report 2 years ago called the Hidden Tribes Report. And I like to cite it. There are some quibbles with it, but it's backed up by a ton of other research. 85% of the public kind of fits into the middle. They don't see everything as political. It's about 7% on the extreme on the right and about 7% more on the extreme on the left that is making up all the noise, all the shouting, and that's who politicians like Ron DeSantis are pandering to, catering to in our politics, not the rest of us, not the 85% who don't see everything as political and kind of want to live our lives and not be in a fight with our neighbors. And that may be the most distressing part of this, is that it's needless. We don't need to go through this. We don't need to have something like taking a vaccine or wearing a mask to keep our young kids safe in school. That doesn't have to be political. It doesn't have to be a wedge issue, but it is. And it's because politicians are catering to those extremes. And it drives me as nuts as it drives you.
What's fascinating to me, Matt, and I'm sure you've seen several of these as well. There are a couple of actual talk show hosts that this has been the case with, and then a lot of sort of just average people. We see it on newscasts and so on. I'm thinking of Phil Valentine, talk show host out of Tennessee. I've met Phil. Doug Farrell from up in New England, somewhere up your way, I think, who were adamant on the air. You know, it's a scam. One of them called it's a scandemic. Don't you dare get a vaccine. It's all part of the plot by the lousy libs, and you know, just ranting against the vaccine. In those two cases, they got COVID. Farrell died from it. Valentine is having an inability to breathe and is close to a ventilator. And both of them at the end said, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And we see a lot of average people with that as well on the news who fought against the vaccine, said it's terrible, I'm never going to do it, don't believe it, and now are close to dying, and they're going, man, I should have paid more attention.
Yeah, and interestingly, we got stuck in a rut of about 500,000 doses of the vaccine administered per week, and we were stuck below that threshold that President Biden had set of wanting to get 70% of adults vaccinated. We were stuck on it. The only thing that got us unstuck the last 2 weeks is the number of deaths we're seeing. And all of a sudden, in all the places where you're seeing this uptick in deaths, people are getting the message. And now the vaccination dose numbers are creeping up closer to 1 million a week. And so maybe that's the only thing that will get through to people.
I know Governor Justice here in West Virginia, a couple of months ago when he was on one of the national Sunday morning shows, and he was asked, and I'm not a fan of the governor's, but in this case I think he was right. He was asked, what's it going to take to get people to, to realize it's important to get the vaccine? And he said, people will have to die. And
yeah, that's right.
Unfortunately, that's exactly the case. We'll have to wait and see. And I wonder how history will judge people like Ron DeSantis and some of the others that are so not just anti-vaccine, but aggressively trying to make sure nobody, or anti-mask mandate in DeSantis' case, aggressively trying to make sure that nobody can even choose to wear a mask in school, for example. I wonder how history will judge them. I can't help but think poorly.
I got to agree. But, anyway, depressing topic, and I off-tracked us onto the most depressing topic in America.
That's exactly. It's on my mind day and night. I was feeling so good about getting the mask off and going back out and having lunch with my friends again and circulating in the world. And now I'm starting to retrench again. Even though I'm vaccinated, it doesn't really impact me. I just get nervous. 8:22 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Matt Robeson is with us, one of our political analysts. And Matt, what I really wanted to talk about was loosely redistricting, or the new census numbers that we're about to see. Changes are going to be coming to our political alignments here in the next year or so, aren't they?
They are. And I think for your listeners today, the thing to pay attention to depends on how nerdy they want to be. But the thing to pay attention to that's in the news that all the political nerds are watching is the release of new data from the census. So we completed, every 10 years we do the census. We just completed it. And now the Census Bureau is going to be releasing to states the detailed numbers, the breakdowns of where people are, who they are, what ages they are. And that's what the states and the state legislators largely, although in some states it'll be redistricting commissions, are going to use to draw new representation districts at both the state level and for your congressional representation. And of course, this matters because it basically determines how much voice you have. And as your longtime listeners will know, it also is sort of the starting pistol for the gerrymandering process. So what's going to happen here is inside, in the states where the state legislators control the process, they're going to get the data. Most of them have hired consultants with very sophisticated map-making programs. It's kind of like Google Maps for politics. And what they're going to do is they're going to feed this data into these maps. And then the program is going to run thousands and thousands of scenarios to find out a map. No matter what crazy shape it is, they're going to find a map with districts that will give the party that's already in power the biggest electoral advantage. Now, there are some rules of the road they have to follow. The districts have to all touch one another. They have to have certain characteristics. But other than that, the gloves are off, and this whole process is going to launch, and there's going to be a lot of court battles and a lot of back and forth, because this really determines who's going to hold the House of Representatives and who's going to hold state legislatures for the next 10 years.
It's, I remember a long, long time ago when I was a young and budding reporter, and I thought this has got to be a joke. Surely politicians aren't so nefarious as to literally manipulate these maps. And we had a state delegate who called me one day and he goes, Howard, they're trying to get rid of me, and they're trying to redistrict me out by putting me in a district that was with more, actually I think he was a Republican, they're putting him with more Democrats, but at any rate, they're trying to put me in a district that I can't win. And I said, no, I don't believe that. That's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. And he said, I'm coming over to your house. And he came to my house and brought the maps. And I saw this weird looking district where here's the bulk of the district over here. Then there's a little, kind of like a little trail up and down the mountains that goes right over to this guy's house and just covered his house. And he said, that's where they put me. So I could be in this district so I can be voted out. And at that point I said, I guess they do play these games. I guess there is this game being played. And it's going to be played again here very soon. I mean, we're about to go into it. Matt, there's another aspect of this too, which is the parties themselves are going to have to start looking at the census numbers and the demographic numbers that are out there, and who is their core constituency and where do they find them and so on. I mean, it's not just electoral voting, but it's actually who are the people that we have to reach.
This is going to be perhaps the most confusing, confounding, difficult map drawing process that we've seen. And the reason is that there has actually been some substantial movement in key voting blocks. And I think the folks who are drawing maps, there's been some good reporting on this. They're really not sure what to do. Let me give you an example. It is anticipated, and we'll see if the numbers actually say this, it is anticipated that for the first time in the history of the census, the population of Americans who describe themselves as white will drop below 60%. The biggest growth will be in Americans who describe themselves as Hispanic or Latino. For a long time, Democrats have thought that the growth in non-white populations would give them a demographic inevitability. There was actually a famous book, famous in political circles, by this guy, Roy Teixeira, back in 2002, that predicted that Democrats would have an inevitable majority forever and ever because of these demographic changes. But in 2020, that's not the way things played out. In 2016, Hispanic conservatives voted for Hillary Clinton by 20 points. In 2020, they voted for Donald Trump by 30 points. We're beginning to see a separation between people's ideology, if they see themselves as liberal or conservative, and their ethnic or racial affiliation. It used to be that, your ethnic racial group was pretty predictive of how you would vote. That's becoming less true. We're seeing that same polarization that we're seeing in all other segments of the electorate. So what do you do if you're drawing a map and you have high numbers of Latino voters? If you're trying to give yourself an advantage, how are they going to react? Another group is white, college-educated, suburban voters. They swung significantly toward Joe Biden in 2020. They swung to Joe Biden by 7.5%. But it's not clear that that swing is going to remain with the Democratic Party. Can another Democrat besides Joe Biden get that kind of percentage, especially in the suburbs? We don't know, and neither do the map makers. So it is going to be challenging, and I think there will be a number of cases. Here's a prediction. I hate predictions because I'm wrong a lot, but I think you will see stories over the next couple of years, 24, 26, of districts that were drawn by Republicans to give them an advantage and turn out to not be an advantage. I think there are going to be a bunch of surprises in here.
The Democratic Party, for example, has been, I'm not sure this is actually true, but the perception is the Democratic Party is looking to younger and more progressive voters, except that's kind of the internal fight the party is having already, the fight between younger, progressive, and slightly older, more moderate people. The presumption is the very liberal left is in control of the party, and I think the party is trying to decide, is that what we want to have in control of us?
That's certainly the segment that has become sort of the public face of the party, the loudest, most online, most Twitter-friendly segment of the party. But the reality is that's not the party. 52% of Democrats describe themselves as moderate or even conservative. And there was a special election for a district in Ohio last week, pitting two candidates against each other in a Democratic primary. They're both African American women, which is the core constituency of the Democratic Party. One was a Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders endorsed candidate. They had poured a lot of progressive money into her, very high profile. The other was a more typical moderate member of a prospective member of Congress, and the moderate one. And this is the latest in a string of defeats for Bernie Sanders aligned candidates. In 2018, the Our Revolution group, Bernie Sanders group, went 0 for 27 in primaries. I'm not a baseball fan, but I know that's a bad batting average. And it says something about the reality of the Democratic Party. But I will say, to your point, Howard, we did a really good show on the Beyond Politics podcast. I'd urge people to check this out. Just look for Beyond Politics. We did an interview with the progressive data analyst, David Shore. And he is an 18 to 34-year-old white college-educated person. And he himself is saying, people like me are driving the Democratic Party, and we're driving it into a ditch. People in that segment are only about 5% of the electorate, but they're probably literally a majority of people who work in Democratic politics, and their sensibilities are driving the party off a liberal cliff, and it's sort of poisoning the well with the vast majority of voters.
In West Virginia, the Democratic Party is having that exact same fight, and a very large, a relatively small but vocal group of people who are uber progressives, trying to overthrow, if you will, the more centrist, older members of the party. Personally, I think it's going to lead to some problems, because I think the older centrist folks, especially in West Virginia, are more in line with where the electorate is. And secondly, I think they understand how to get elected better. But that fight is being fought here. Also, I thought it was interesting. We know in West Virginia we're losing a congressional seat. We've had 3. I remember when we had 5. I think once upon a time. I've watched us slowly go down. We have 3 right now. All 3 are Republicans. Now it's going to go down to 2. I never thought about the fact that while that is in a sense bad news for West Virginia, one less member of Congress, it's probably not good news for the Republican Party, because they're losing what probably would be a guaranteed Republican seat.
That is true overall across the country. On balance, the news is very, very good for the Republican Party, because first of all, they have a massive advantage in control of state legislatures, which are going to, for the most part, draw these districts. They also are experiencing growth in states where they have this kind of control, and so they're going to be able to draw the maps to take maximum advantage of it. And so it is bad news for West Virginians in terms of the amount of voice that they will get in national politics, but it is overall, this is going to be a very good news cycle for the Republican Party. And the one other thing I'll say about that is that the famous biographer, Robert Caro, who wrote just the greatest set of biographies in political biography history about LBJ, says that power doesn't corrupt, power reveals. And when Democrats have the opportunity to exercise power in redistricting, historically they've gerrymandered too. I get it, they have. But in the last 10 years or so, when they have that opportunity, what do? They create independent redistricting commissions. They neuter their own power to try and achieve a more fair and equitable result that does not gerrymander. When Republican legislatures have had power, what have they done? They have gerrymandered. Now, that sounds like a very partisan statement, but it is the truth. That is the simple truth.
Matt, I got to run. I appreciate your time this morning. People can check out the podcasts, Beyond Politics, Great Ideas podcast, and I'm glad that you had a good vacation, even if you don't like to go to the water. And we'll do this again probably in another couple of weeks.
Always grateful for the vacation and always grateful to be on the show. Thanks, Howard.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Matt. Matt Robeson with us from time to time. We tend to talk big picture stuff like we're talking about today, redistricting and the census and all that kind of good stuff. Matt is a talk show host and a podcaster. His podcasts are the Great Ideas podcast and the Beyond Politics podcast. Also, he has his background is in, he's done consulting on campaigns and also been a congressional staffer. So he brings some real world knowledge to his political analyst position. It is 8:37, 23 till the hour. We're still looking at 75 degrees and sunny here at the home studios at the Robinson Auto Group studios downtown Wheeling as well. Let's check some headlines for you from our friends at ABC, and we'll get some sports in here. A couple of odds and ends I want to deal with, including a bit more on COVID we'll talk about coming up in the next half hour. And we'll turn our attention to Moundsville next hour, where Sarah Wood, who is a councilwoman and also the chair of the Arts and Culture Commission, joins us, and we'll talk about some of the things they've got coming up to make Moundsville, make the Mountain Town more fun and exciting. It's all coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show for a Thursday.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now
Metro News Sports. Good morning. I'm Joe Mercado. WVU senior golfer Mark Getz posted the Metro News Sports. Good morning. I'm Joe Mercado. WVU senior golfer Mark Getz posted the top qualifying score out of 312 golfers in the stroke play portion of the United States Amateur Golf Tournament in Pittsburgh. On Wednesday morning, Getz finished off a round of 68 at Oakmont Country Club to earn medalist honors and the number one seed in the 64-man match play bracket. Getz began his first round match against David Naifault late Wednesday afternoon. They are all squared through 4 holes, and they will resume the match this morning.
I'm just so happy for him, being a Pittsburgh area kid. You know, people talk about Augusta or Pebble Beach, but when you're from this neck of the woods, like Oakmont is, it's everything. So for him to be, you know, sort of have this historical moment and they'll never be able to take it away from him is pretty cool.
That's WVU head coach Sean Kovich. Former WVU golfer Matthew Sharpstein also qualified for the match play bracket. You can follow along with today's action at usga.org and more details at wvmetronews.com. Deuce McBride's run with the New York Knicks in the NBA Summer League continued last night in Vegas, and the former Mountaineer helped the Knicks to a 91-82 win over the Lakers. Deuce scored 22 points in 28 minutes. He went 6 of 6 from three-point range, grabbed 7 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists. The Knicks are 2-1 in the Summer League, and they will face Detroit on Friday night. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Yet another quality start for former WVU pitcher Alek Manoah last night with the Toronto Blue Jays. Manoah struck out 11 batters in 6 2/3 innings of work as the Blue Jays rolled over the Angels 10-2 the final. Manoah allowed 2 runs and just 5 hits, and he lowered his rookie season ERA to 2.59. Manoah is now 5-1 overall, and he has won his last 3 decisions. For Metro News Sports, good morning. I'm Joe Mercado.
This is Hoppy Kercheval. Join me weekdays at 10 o'clock right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe for Talk Line. I have guests, conversations, texts, phone calls on all the big stories affecting us in West Virginia. So tune in weekdays right here on FM 98.1 and FM 97.7, The Watchdog.
Founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear, including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
Babies come with lots of decisions.
Cloth or disposable? Crib or bassinet?
So when it comes to protection, go with the safest, most effective choice, vaccination. Get all the recommended vaccines for your baby by age 2 to protect your child against 14 serious childhood diseases. For more reasons to vaccinate, talk to your child's doctor. Go to cdc.gov/vaccines or call 800-CDC-INFO. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
The celebration begins Friday, August 13th at Wheeling's Heritage Port with live music. Celebrate 20 years of the Heritage Music Blues Fest. This year's Blues Fest features blues superstars Ronnie Earl and the Broadcasters, 2021 Traditional Blues Grammy winner Bobby Rush, the rock and blues of Indigenous and Anna Popovich, and up-and-coming blues superstars Davey Knowles and Hannah Wickland, and many more. Heritage Music Blues Fest, Friday, August 13th through Sunday, August 15th. Tickets and info at heritagemusicfest.com.
Hey there, Dave Weekley here. Metro News Hotline presents what's trending in sports, music, movies, tech, television, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Renowned local and national guests pepper the daily lineup with authoritative insights and commentary on a wide variety of topics from West Virginia, high school sports to the financial markets. Join the fun. Every day, Coop and I dip into irreverent discussions with calls, texts, tweets, the question of the day, and the always popular In or Out. Metro News Hotline, weekday afternoons from 3 until 5 on the Watchdog, WKKX and WVLY.
You can watch a video cast of our show every morning on Facebook Live or on our website. Plus, check archives of all of our videos on the Watchdog YouTube channel. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
I always like to remind you, if you are watching on Facebook Live, hit the like and share button. Like it. Hopefully you like it. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to like it. hit the like button, and then share. Hit the share button, share it to your timeline, your news feed. If there are news groups you think would be interested in watching the video cast, that's fine. Don't intrude on the food groups and things that have no bearing on it. Well, we do talk a lot about food, but if you have a news group that you're in or some group that you're in, you think it'd be worth having the feed there, please do. Hit the like button always, hit the share button. Share it at least to your timeline or to your news feed. We're always on my Facebook page and on the Watchdogs Facebook page. If you miss a bit of the video cast, you can always watch it on our YouTube channel. We archive all of our video shows on YouTube. And you can also just go to watchdognetwork.com and watch it there as well. 13 till the hour, 75 degrees, still sunny here at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Coming up today on Statewide Talk Line, beginning at 10:06, Brad McElhenney will join Hoppy, and we'll talk more about Governor Justice hinting, and that's the key phrase, he didn't say it, but he kind of hinted yesterday that he may be considering bringing a mask mandate back because of the high rise of COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths in West Virginia. Brad will talk about that with Hoppy coming up today on Statewide Talk Line. Also, State School Superintendent Clayton Birch will be in to talk about the statewide test scores. The pandemic year was not a good year for test scores in West Virginia, or really across the country. Superintendent Birch will talk about that with Hoppy coming up today. And also, Hop will talk to a couple of actual school teachers about the challenge of trying to make up for that lost pandemic year with their students. So should be a good show. Check it out. Statewide Talk Line today from 10 until noon with Hoppy Kercheval here on the Watchdog. Don't forget, of course, after that is over and done with, the TV7 News at noon, live from the WTRF TV7 anchor desk. So get your midday news there. Then it's the Bill DeFabio Variety Show with all kinds of interesting conversation and interviews and stuff. Bill always has stuff. What's he got coming up today, Biff? Do you have any idea what kind of stuff's he got today?
Today is, let's see, today's Thursday. So
Thursday.
Yeah, I think the folks from the Capitol Theater / West Banco Arena, one or from both, I think usually he has them in to talk about the events going on over the weekend. So other than that, I don't think trying to go back to his sports report. The Pirates are the Pirates. They lost again. Yeah, guy for the Cardinals last night, Adam Wainwright, pitched a complete game and only gave up 2 hits. So the Pirates got 2 hitted. So other than the folks from either the Capitol or West Banco Arena or both coming in, I don't know what Billy has.
It'll be something interesting, entertaining, and if not, he and Lola can just yell at each other all day.
Oh, that'd make for great radio. For 3 hours or 2 hours, however long it
That's
it
always
is.
kind of fun to hear the two of them go at it when they do. Bill DeFabio Variety Show today, noon until 3, and then, of course, Dave Weekly is in at 3 o'clock with the Hotline program from 3 until 5. Followed again by WTF TV7 News, 5 to 5:30, the entire local newscast from Channel 7's anchor desk. And then at 5:30, Mark Curtis is in with the statewide newscast from 5:30 until 6. And Tony Caridi with statewide sports line at 6 o'clock as we get closer and closer to kickoff for the Mountaineers. And Mountaineer excitement begins to grow, and Tony will talk about all of that. So that's the lineup for the day today. Stick around for us all day long here on the Watchdog. WKKX and on WVLY. Now, 8:50 to the hour, we were talking about COVID, the vaccine, and how it's gotten so politicized. There's a new Morning Consult Politico poll that is out, and it really highlights the political division on the issue of vaccines and mask mandates and really COVID in general. And again, I'm going to share it with you. I don't understand it. I don't understand how medicine, public health can be seen through a political prism. I just don't get it. When we sent a man to the moon, it wasn't conservatives or liberals. It was America that sent a man to the moon because science was driving it. When we had the polio vaccine, everybody got it, not because liberals wanted it and conservatives thought it was an intrusion on liberty. It's because there was polio amongst our society. We wanted to stop it. Science is science. Medicine is medicine. Public health is public health. It's not politics. But it is. New Morning Consult Politico poll came out yesterday. First of all, Joe Biden gets good marks. 58% of the people surveyed give President Biden excellent or good marks for handling the pandemic. So they give him good marks. About half of the voters blame all the current rise in COVID on the unvaccinated, which is good because that is factually what the problem is. It's sad it's only half of the voters. Should be 99% of the voters because you look at the statistics, that's it. Who's in the hospital? Who's gotten COVID? Who's dying from COVID right now in the current round of things? The unvaccinated. 97, 98% of them. Dr. Clay Marsh talked about that this week. Half of the voters blame the unvaccinated. Others blame political leaders who have stopped mandates on mask wearing, like Ron DeSantis and so on. Let's see, what else have I got here? But, all right, so here we go, the political divide, though. 80% of Democrats, over 80%, 8 out of 10 Democrats, and at least half of all independent voters believe we should make it mandatory that everybody get the COVID vaccine. Yes, with medical exemptions, of course, but it should be mandatory. It shouldn't be, do you want the vaccine? It should be, here's your time, come in and get the vaccine. It's a mandatory thing for all of us. 80% of Democrats, half independents say they want to require vaccines. 35% of Republicans say they believe we should require vaccines. Now, on the issue of mask mandates, Republican support is inching up a few percentage points, but a majority is still opposed. Nearly all Democrats and a majority of independents are in favor of it. So, again, it should not be a political issue, but it is. And when you see polls like this, it's clearly a political issue. Republicans feel strongly one way, Democrats feel strongly another way. I probably would prefer, that's the way the poll listed, I would probably prefer to call it liberals and conservatives, but because I don't think Republicans per se are opposed to the vaccine or getting the vaccine or even mandating the vaccine or masks, but I think it's these radical conservatives that are behind it. Meanwhile, Dr. Fauci says he is hopeful, and this I think will help to get more people vaccinated. Dr. Fauci says he is hopeful that by the end of this month, the FDA will officially give full approval to the COVID vaccines. There is no problem with them right now, but they are by bureaucratic, technically, they're under experimental approval. Dr. Fauci hopes that by the end, he thinks that by the end of August, the FDA will make it an official approval. It will then be approved as an authorized vaccine. So we shall see. It's 5 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Do I have to do a break, Biffy? I should ask that before I do anything else.
No, we're good.
Let's talk to Steve from St. C. Good morning, sir.
Hey, this mask mandate, I heard Governor Justice talk about.
Yes.
Howard, why would he even possibly mention a mask mandate?
I don't know, protect the kids.
You, me, Brad, we got our shots, okay? Just tell me why.
Kids under 12 didn't.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah, okay. Well, make the shot eligible for them then.
Well, and hopefully they will sometime in the near
Okay.
future, but right now.
But I'm just saying,
right now
to walk into any business that's going to require that, or he says any state, local government, why should I have to do that? Because the people that haven't got the shot aren't going to get it right now.
Well,
they've already said they're not going.
I guess Yeah, and I guess that's the answer. I guess the answer is we ought to care for our fellow man. Don't you think so?
But they don't care for themselves. If
Well,
they
but
care,
that's what kind of an attitude is that, Steve? I mean,
I did my duty. I got it. But Joe Schmo sitting next to you didn't get it. He's not going to get it at this point. He doesn't care about you, and he doesn't care about himself.
maybe, but I care about him, and I care about the people whom he may be around. I care about Joe Schmo, possibly, because I can be a carrier, even though I'm not a, even though I don't have, even though I've been vaccinated, I could be a carrier. I could give it to him. He could go home and give it to his kids. I am concerned about people besides myself, Steve. Yes, I'm fine. I could walk through, basically, I could walk through the world like a colossus striding across the earth. And those who are not vaccinated, strike them dead. I don't care. I care about other people. That's why.
But those people don't care about themselves.
I don't care about whether they care about. I care about them. And I care about the people. I care about them, and I care about the people that they may be taking this home to as well. I care about something other than myself.
See, now you're looking at it through a political way.
I'm looking at it through a human way.
No, you're not. You're absolutely not. You did your job. And if the person doesn't want to get the shot, they're not going to get the shot. So why should we care?
Because I care about people. Because I'm not an arrogant. I'm not saying you are.
I am.
I'm not some kind of an arrogant, all I care about is myself. I'm fine, so to hell with you. I care about other people. I care about what I'm taking out into the world to the unvaccinated person. I care about the unvaccinated people who I can easily say are getting what they deserve because they're in the hospital, but I care about them.
You're not getting the 15 people at Wheeling Hospital that are in the hospital because of COVID, all 15 unvaccinated.
Correct.
So if they would have got the shots, they wouldn't be in there.
And so we condemn them?
But that's their own fault, Howard. They've had a chance. The shots are on every corner.
You don't get it. I don't care that they don't care. I care. I care about them.
So you're
care
the
about other
problem, it's
people.
not the person.
So
you're the problem.
Steve, you know what? If caring about other people, if having a Christian belief that other people are worth as much as I am,
don't make it religious, Howard.
If caring about other people, well, it is religious. It's a Christian belief. I care about other people.
So
I care about other people.
What's their thought? What do you think? What do they think?
I don't care about their thought, Steve. I don't care about their thought. I care about my thought. And my thought is I care about something other than myself. I care about people other than me. I care that other folks who may not want to get the vaccine can still end up dying, and I would rather they not.
They're not. They're never going to get the shot, so too bad.
Gotta go. 9 o'clock, Watchdog Morning Show. What an attitude.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From